all of that feedback. And let me just get myself spotlighted. Okay, can everyone see my cutting board? Good. You can also pin me. You can pin both of my screens by going to the top right-hand corner of my picture where you see me, clicking the 3 dots and saying pin, and that'll pin you can pin both of my videos to your screen. Okay, so I have my chickpeas. They've been rinsed. They've been sort of just dried inside of the colander. They're still a little bit damp, and that's okay. I've got them in a bowl and I've got my masher, and feel free to use your food processors that you might have or anything that is with this process. And so I've got those in a bowl ready to be mashed, but we're going to get the stuff going inside so that everyone can get some tasty treats and flavors in there. So I'm going to start off with some parsley. Everyone got a good healthy heap of parsley. For this dish, I'm not a fanatic of parsley, but I do enjoy the flavor. So I've added about 10 stalks of parsley, and you can do less or more. It's not going to hurt. And so I'm going to finely chop that parsley. And I'm stopping just as I get all the leaf matter out, and I'm leaving the stems behind. They are totally edible. You can use them. They're just a little bit rougher, and my chickens like to eat them, so I'm going to save them for my chickens. And I'm going to go through once more and give it a little finer chop. Thank you, everyone, for the birthday wishes. That's very sweet. And I'm going to add them to the bowl where our chickpeas are. So that's one of the main flavors in a lot of Middle Eastern food, and especially in falafel, is that fresh parsley taste. And everyone should also have a nice little red onion. I'm going to cut my ends off. We're just going to dice the onion up in small pieces because it's going straight in with the chickpea, what I like to call chickpea batter for our falafel. And guys, if you have specific pointed questions or are having trouble with anything, you can also write one of us in the chat. If you need us to slow down, we're happy to do that too. These are pretty small onions. I think everyone's kit had a small onion, so you can add the entire thing into your chickpea batter.
Parsley goes in.
Parsley goes in. Taking a break from my cutting board because my eyes are tearing up like crazy. These are very strong onions. Everyone doing okay? Great.
My mommy was helping to blend the, the chickpeas because they were not mashing.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that part soon. The chickpeas are quite hard to mash, and your mom can definitely help. And also, you can use a blender or a food processor if you need a little help with it. But I bet you can get it if you help out too a little. Just keep trying. It's gonna break down the more you get it with the masher. I'm working on my garlic now, and these are very big cloves. And I'm going to use the whole thing because I love garlic, but this is probably about 4 cloves worth of garlic. But it doesn't hurt to add more if you like it. I think this kind of garlic is called elephant garlic, and that's pretty suiting for its name because it's absolutely giant. And one of my favorite varieties to get, they don't really sell it in the grocery store a lot, but local farms sell it because there's just, you do a lot less work, a lot less peeling, and you get so much garlic out of it. I'm gonna try to grow it this year. You want to mince your garlic, so we want to get it pretty small so you're not taking heaping bites of garlic. So spend the time you need to make that cut up nice and small.
I'm still working on onion.
What'd you say? I missed it.
I'm still working on onion.
Take your time. We got plenty of time. We can also, if folks need, we can stay on a little bit later too. If you're still having questions, and I'm happy to do that.
To me, the more onion, the better. So
Yep, me too. I'm not sure if y'all knew this, but especially red onion skins and a lot of different like vegetable plants, the scraps can be used to dye clothes naturally. So if you ever have like a fun little day at home and you want to try a project, you can dye clothes with onion skins or avocado pits, and it's pretty beautiful, the colors that come out of it. You just have to save up enough of them. Show you up close my garlic minced.
I had a friend that used to do red onion skins to do our Easter eggs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that. Not using natural stuff is so cool.
Here's my garlic.
Give me a thumbs up if you feel like you're ready to start adding spices, and it's okay if not. Okay. Just a couple. So we'll slow it down a little and wait for a minute. Me and Linda are going a little fast. If anyone did finish a little bit early, generally the main spice that we want to use in this is the cumin that you got. It's very strong. If you want to give it a smell, it has a very unique smell if you haven't cooked with it before, and it's definitely the primary flavor of your falafel. But you can also, if you've got extra spices you want to try and put in from your pantry, you're welcome to. I like using just a regular paprika or smoked paprika. You could use, oregano or any other, maybe if you have a suggestion, you can share it with the group, something that you think might be good in this dish. processor, you probably, I like, just to make sure that it gets evenly dispersed, I would probably cut my garlic clove into like 6 pieces, and put that in first before the chickpeas. If not, then I would go ahead and mince it fully, because if you put it in after, it might stay a little bit too chunky.
Did you see Leslie's question in the chat?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to start adding my spices, and if they are on the recipe, so if you're a step behind, we can go back over if you have questions. There is coriander listed on there, and that is celery seed, and I don't have celery seed, but I think it would taste really good. So if you have coriander at home, go ahead and add that. But I'm just going to do cumin, salt, and black pepper, and maybe a dash of paprika because I have it. So the cumin, it calls for 3/4 a teaspoon. So this is 1/4. I'm going to do 3 of these. And then, so for the salt, we're going to do 1/2 teaspoon. The black pepper, I have to grate it. So I'm gonna probably do about like 10 of these spins, but I would say probably 1/2 to 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper would be good in there. Great. And then the last thing that you'll need is some flour, whatever kind of flour you have at home. I'm using chickpea flour because I have a gluten allergy, but all-purpose flour, if you had, potato flour, you could use that. Just something to help bind this mixture together and make it fry up nicely. The little bag is just the cumin. I don't think we ended up getting coriander. So it's just cumin, just what I have as well. And so the flour, you're going to do 2 to 3 tablespoons, and I'm going to start with 2. And then if I need to add a third one, once we start blending up our chickpeas, you'll have a better idea of that. Okay, so in my bowl, I've got fresh parsley, fresh garlic, a whole clove, a whole onion, 1 can of drained chickpeas, salt, cumin, pepper, and 2 tablespoons of some type of flour that you have, all-purpose, chickpea, potato, oat flour, whatever you got. And I'm going to add some paprika because I add it to everything. And now's the time, if you have some music or jams, you can start pumping yourself up. If you're not using a food processor, you're going to be doing a little bit of work here, getting these to mash. And at first, it's going to feel like there's no way that this is going to form some type of dough. And it really doesn't feel that way until a minute in. But I promise, I've done this before. It works out. It's delicious. So this is really putting work in with your elbows. I'm making sure to push it down from the sides. So I'm getting all the chickpeas in there.
I gotta
Did someone say something? And if someone's a step ahead, I can tell them that what this is going to end up being is sort of a dough that you can loosely pick it up and form a little circle, a little ping pong sized ball, and it stays in shape. So that's the texture you're looking for. And I'll show you mine once I get there. I don't have a food processor. I might have chosen it, but it does work, I promise.
There.
Yeah, and if now is a great time as we're mashing, if anyone has questions. It's a very strong smelling mixture, I'm sure you can tell. So I'm about halfway there on my mixing. And
Brooke, can you show us what it looks like?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Here's where I am right now, and I'm about halfway, I'd say.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
it is dry still, doesn't quite look like a batter. But beans are very starchy and they do hold together very well. So you'll see soon.
Could I use an immersion blender?
You could, I'd be a little nervous about an immersion blender because it might make it a little bit too liquidy, but if you do
Okay.
it for like a quick, just a quick blend, that should be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so a couple tablespoons of flour.
So if your mixture still feels a little bit wet, you can add your third tablespoon of flour. So I think I'm going to add mine now because I'm feeling it and it is a little wet and I want it to be a little bit stickier. So I sprinkle that over the top and mash it in. Just probably about another 2 minutes on mashing. You're doing great. Keep up the good work. Okay, mine is looking pretty good to me. This looks, it's dry, but it's still gonna stick together. So let's give everyone else just another minute and then we can move on to our next task and let this sit and kind of let some of the starches, the beans come out.
Brooke,
Yes.
did you take the casings off your chickpeas?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I pulled off a few of them.
All right, thanks.
Kind of a preference thing. I mean, they definitely have a lot of fiber, so they are good for you.
Yeah.
But some people don't like the casings. Doesn't happen to bother me. Just a little extra crunch.
If you take them off, would it be easier to mash?
I'm not sure. It might be, it might not be, but
Okay.
yeah, it's so really just to show you, this is hardly mashed, but the beans are still holding together very loosely in a ping pong ball size. So that's what we're going for. So if you can want to try it out and just see, can I squish this together to make a loose ball? You couldn't apply pressure, it would fall apart, but you just do it very gently. So we have not added the oil yet. We're gonna fry the falafel last. We're gonna make our ingredients that are gonna go inside of the falafel first, or the whole sandwich. And then we'll fry the falafel so it's nice and hot when it gets on the bread. So I'm gonna set this aside for now and get my station ready to start our kale salad that's gonna go inside. So for the kale, you're gonna want to get another bowl out, a good sized bowl that you can stick your hands into. One thing I forgot to mention too is that you can use your hands to mix this as well. I mean, I feel like hands are a very underutilized tool in the kitchen, and they're extremely strong, and it's fun to mash things up with them. I always encourage getting messy in the kitchen. So I have a nice clear bowl. I need a whole set of these so everyone can always see a little bit better what my stuff looks like. Give me a thumbs up if you feel ready to set your chickpeas aside for now and do our little kale demo. Got some thumbs up. Okay. Nice thumb. Double thumbs up. Okay, great. So I already rinsed my kale, and one of my favorite things to do when preparing kale is, because this stem is really rough, we're probably not going to want it in a salad. You could absolutely cook the entire thing. People always throw out stems of stuff and they're really good and full of fiber, but for this dish, we are not. And what I like to do is take my hand, one hand on top, one on the bottom, kind of loosely, and I pull the greens off. I'll do that again so everyone can see. And this goes to the chickens. So you're just left with the stem. It's just a nice quick trick with kale. Sometimes if you don't get it, you might have to do what I just did and pull the leaves off. But I don't want that really thick stem in here. It's hard to eat. And then I'm actually going to cut my kale. And let me move the bowl so you can see a little bit better. So I really want to increase the surface area of the kale because we're going to be giving this kale a massage to help break down some of these plant fibers. And something that helps that process is increasing the surface area and tearing it up. So you can use a knife. I sometimes like to roll it in a ball so it's kind of squished together. And then I do my cuts. And I'm making very thin cuts. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to break it up. And this is going to be the like green, fresh part of your sandwich. In place of lettuce, you could also use lettuce if you don't like kale. So I chopped lengthwise, and I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to chop the other way. And that's going back in my bowl. So I can get ready to put the ingredients in that'll help make it delicious and break down quicker. This is just such a good way to get healthy green vegetables in and make something like kale delicious and easier to digest, because it is hard to digest. So what we're going to do is we are going to mix in a pinch of salt, a healthy pinch. You can put in, if you like black pepper a lot, you can also add that to it.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
I'll
And then-
turn my, I'll mute myself here.
Okay, cool. That scared me a little bit, but it was funny. We can add in half of a lime, the juice of a lime into that bowl. So that acid is really good for helping it break down and also just gives it a good dressing, nice fresh taste. So if you have a lime squeezer, that's great for you. I don't, and I like to get every last drop out, so I use my fingers. So we're mixing the lime, the salt. We're going to use 1 tablespoon of vinegar and 1 tablespoon of olive oil, or any kind of oil that you like on salad dressing. I got to rinse my tablespoon. It's the only one I have. One vinegar, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And now comes the messy part. Now, if you want to wear gloves, you can wear gloves for this. I just make sure my hands are clean, and we're going to massage our kale. So we are working in all of these, the liquids that we have, and the salt.
I want to, but I don't want to open the unused one.
And we're using our hands to basically give your kale a massage. It's a lot of physical action. It's like a workout and a cooking class. And I'd say probably plan to spend 1 to 1.5 minutes giving your kale a massage, and then we'll put it to the side and let it sit for a little and soak in these juices. There you go, you got it. Keep squeezing. Okay, and then your hands look like garden monsters, so you might want to wash them when you're done.
You think it's all in there? You got everything?
Wash my hands.
She definitely has garden monster hands. All right, so we've got our chickpea batter ready. We've got our kale ready. And next we're gonna make a little mayo drizzle. So mayo is such a good way to make things creamy without having to use cream. Mayo is dairy-free, even though it looks like it's full of dairy. So I really enjoy using it for making sauces, especially creamy ones. What we're gonna do is get out a separate bowl, and we are going to fill.
I need the scoop.
In your recipe, it calls for 1 cup. I just know I cannot eat that much. So I'm gonna cut the recipe in half, and I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup of mayo. And I like to measure. Some people know it better and they can eyeball it. And it's okay to eyeball it. It's not baking, so nothing has to be perfect, but I like to measure it out. I set in a bowl. And then some of the similar ingredients, we're going to use the rest of your lime juice in there. You can also use a spoon. I'm using the same spoon because I don't like to wash a lot of dishes. It's all going in the same place. But you can use a spoon to get that juice out. And just by rotating it on its side, and then you get all the juice.
Scoop it.
And again, we're going to use some vinegar. So you can put in, let's see, I think one teaspoon of vinegar should be good in this recipe. And then I like to stir it in while it just has the liquid ingredients, and then you can add salt and pepper, just a pinch of salt and pepper to taste.
You want to get the salt thing?
Salt, pepper to taste. I put a hint on your recipe, something we don't have to do today, but I love to do. If you're going to be frying things, you can go ahead and stick a clove of garlic, even with the skin on, in the frying pan in oil, submerged for a minute or so, maybe 1 to 3 minutes on medium heat. And when you take that clove off, it's going to be really soft. And you can cut it up and mix it in with your mayo and make a garlic aioli. And it's just so good and so easy to do. So I'm stirring pretty vigorously, trying to get all these little chunkies out for just a minute or so. Now, it's pretty drippy. You can see the consistency. I want it to be a little bit more drippy. So I would say add in either another teaspoon of vinegar or a teaspoon of water. It's always different with different mayos, like Hellman's. You don't really have to add the extra, but the mayo that we got, I want a little extra liquid. All right, so this is the good consistency because we're gonna drip it all over our sandwiches. It's gonna bring a bright, light, and creamy profile to your falafel. Okay. How are we doing, folks? Any questions? You need me to slow down? You doing okay? Great. So our next step would be to get our frying pan coated with oil. I'm using a non-stick. You can use a cast iron, any pan you want, but pretty large because you want to fry all your falafel and you don't want them to be touching. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the stove, and I'm going to put it at medium heat. I'm using an electric stove at medium heat. I would say probably the same for a gas stove. And I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of, whoops, this is not the oil I want. You can use olive oil, but I'm going to use canola or vegetable oil for frying. I just think it makes for a better fry than olive oil. So, but if you like other oils for health purposes, that's fine too.
Here we go. She said 3?
3.
I'm using 3, but the goal is just to get the bottom of your pan coated with a little bit of oil to be frying. So falafel is definitely deep fried usually. This is something you can do if you want to use all your oil and deep fry it in a deep pan, you can do that. But these are just going to be lightly fried patties for a little bit healthier option on falafel.
Oven. Yeah.
Yep. And then the one thing just you can do right now is preheat your oven to 350. That's just for heating up our pita bread so it gets nice and soft. So you can preheat it, but don't put your pita in yet. So right now my pan is on medium with 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil or frying oil completely coated. And my oven is on 350. And I'm going to start making my falafel balls. So everyone knows what a ping pong size ball is?
Oh, that is right. That's
All right,
perfect.
you're gonna use the palm of your hand to push the chickpeas into a ball. They don't have to be perfect circles. You're just going for size. So give it a nice squeeze to get it all together. And you can set them on a cutting board if you'd like, just while your oil heats up. So we're going to get those all ready. I find I squeeze it in one hand and use the bottom hand as a support. I wish I wasn't left-handed. Like that. That's what's helpful for me. And parts of them might crumble off a little, and that's fine. That's just the nature of the falafel. So I got my ping pong size balls. Also make them small. There's no problem with having smaller if you want mini falafel. You can make a tinier one, but I do not suggest bigger. Bigger is going to be harder to hold together and harder to flip. Does anyone have a trick for knowing when to know your oil is hot enough to fry?
And it shimmers.
Yeah, when it shimmers. And also you can always stick a little piece of whatever you're going to cook, like a chickpea, in the pan and see if it bubbles on the corners. And if the bubbles immediately start when you get it in there, it should be good enough to start your fry.
Okay.
I'm excited for dinner.
Okay. Well,
So, some other thoughts I had too, we just like all year round, we can't get all the vegetables that I would love to get to live as long as they need to do this class. So I really suggest if you have cucumbers at home, throw those in there. It would be really delicious in our sandwiches. And another thing you can add, if anyone knows how to make like quick pickle onions, sort of like we made quick pickle carrots in last class, that would be a really good addition too.
Yeah, could try that next time.
Yeah.
You remember making the carrots last time? Yeah.
Okay,
I think waffle blends so well with like fresh vegetable taste and creaminess. So another thing you could do instead of the mayo base is make a tzatziki or buy tzatziki at the store, a yogurt sauce. That has lots of herbs. Very tasty. Get my hands washed because I'm a mess.
Well done, darling. A little balls.
Dish so much because it feels like a hearty meal and it's vegetarian and so you can cook it for whomever and it's very healthy, like really packed with protein because of the chickpeas. I'm gonna try a little piece and see how my oil is. It's not quite ready yet. Probably 1 minute. How's everyone doing?
Yeah. Oh, here, let's make. Want to go wash your hands? Okay.
Okay, mayo sauce. Oh, yeah, mayo sauce.
I'm using, when I flip these, I'm gonna use any kind of spatula works really, slotted or not. And one thing that helps you be prepared for later is I get out a paper towel, and that paper towel is gonna lay on a plate. And this is just so when we take the falafel off the stove, the paper towel absorbs the excess vinegar.
I have salt and pepper. The other lime and vinegar.
By vinegar, I mean oil. Okay, my oil is nice and hot and ready, so I'm gonna go ahead. Right as I'm gonna drop them, I'm gonna flatten them a little bit.
You want to flatten it a little bit?
Just a little bit. You don't want it thin, just a little push down. Place them right in the oil. Give it a little flatten.
Mm.
Place them right in the oil. If we were deep frying them, you can keep them as puffs, but just a little bit like this. And I'm spacing them out so they're not crowding each other.
Much. You don't want to crush them.
Let's see,
Gentle.
there's the lime. Excuse me. Let me chair.
Someone had mentioned to air frying these, and I think that could be really
Put them on the oil.
So simple. But I bet this one will come very soon.
So I'm on medium heat, and these can cook up to 6 minutes on either side, on both sides. So they do take a little bit longer to cook. Luckily, we still have extra time, and if you want to hang on to show me your finished result, I'll stay on if we don't quite finish.
Okay. There.
Questions? Okay. Well, it's starting to smell very good in my house.
Can you bring like more than one at a time up?
One thing that's not in the recipe, I like to just add a little dash of salt and pepper when they get off the stove on top of the falafel, but that's not necessary.
Oh, come on. Okay.
So we gotta put those back.
So we're gonna make sure we're looking at, I'll let you know when I'm flipping mine, but about 6 minutes on either side. I do find that all-purpose flour makes them stick together a little bit better than alternative flours, but that's just because gluten is such a good binding agent. But it works out with chickpea as well. You just have to hold them together a little bit more, or other types of flour.
One.
So they should, before you flip them, they should be pretty brown on what, like crispy brown, not golden. tempting to want to flip too early, but hold out for them.
Okay. Sauce.
Sauce. Me very hungry.
Pango. Okay.
I put one and it was a little bit, it was light golden brown, so I would leave them on another minute if you did what I did. Give them a slight squish with your spatula. Excellent. I also think that these could, I know some folks last week asked if there were alternatives to fry, or not last week, last month, to frying the sweet potato. And I think these could be oven baked as well. I would probably want to add in some egg to your batter if you did that, just so it stuck together a little bit more, because the oven has more of a drying effect, whereas oil has a wetter effect. But I'd be curious to know if anyone tries that, how it works out. Maybe it's more of a chickpea mash than a patty in your sandwich, which is equally as tasty. But if anyone does that, let us know. Okay, so mine are looking pretty good to flip. If you're on my Oh, that looks good.
I think if we keep them thick, it works out better. This will taste delicious.
And as these only have a couple minutes left, you could use this time to take your pitas, however many you choose. You can put them in the oven if your oven has heated up. And one thing to note, you can put it right on the oven rack, or you can put it on an oven sheet. But we're only going to leave them in there for a minute and a half.
What are we gonna do all of them?
Well, we'll maybe like 3 chickpeas on. So we-
Y'all seeing some brown crispy sides on your waffle? If you put your pita in when I did, you might want to pull that out. Oh, those look beautiful. Linda,
Wow.
these are
How
short
are
and
people
great.
making such sauce?
I love it. Okay. Some of mine are finishing up, so I'm going to pull them off. Let's see. Who did I miss? Oh, Elizabeth, those look Perfect. Oh my goodness. And I know we only have 3 minutes, so I'm probably gonna assemble my sandwich so everyone can see. So the first thing I want to do is add mayo on the bottom, the sauce that we use, just to give it some wet, because pita's a pretty dry bread. And with my kale,
Sure.
lots and lots of kale. And then lastly, well, not quite lastly, put my falafel on. Probably only can fit two or three on there. And I like to top it off with even more of this drizzle. You can go from side to side and make it look fancy.
Pickle might be good on this too.
Yes,
Oh,
anything,
you did say that, right?
yeah, anything pickled, and then you've got your sandwich. Yeah, I would add pickle, cucumber, you could even add tomato. I think all of that would be delicious. I'll leave this in the frame.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Look at
We only went a little bit. It's on half, I think, right?
And I know people are in the last phases of making their sandwiches or busy working away, but I'm really curious if anyone has feedback. There's a couple things I was thinking of, like opening the class up early if people think they'll have a lot of questions, or having this class go to like 6:15 if people wanted to talk about different recipe ideas starting next month. Yeah, I see Olivia's hand raised.
Hi, yeah, I wouldn't mind if you opened it up a little early. I fell behind a little bit because I don't cook very often. I mean, I got the final result, but like my falafels are cooking and I already cooked some and they look good, but I didn't get like to do the sauce, so I still have to do that. But
Okay, so maybe if we opened it, we'll also send out like a little, like in the survey we send you this week, we'll ask if early and late is better for everyone, but I just wanted to tell you about that idea. And then also to run the idea by, if people have recipes they really want to do, or they really want to share themselves with our group, like I'd love to see that too. We had a request for ratatouille, which I thought might be really fun. Yeah.
Yes.
And we had one for like Greek salads as well. So please send us those. Like, I want to do what y'all want to do. I'm learning as you're learning, and it's just really, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Penelope.
It all sound good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them we prepped one of our stuff so this.
Yeah. We prepped a lot of our things earlier. Well, some of them. So we had the kale all chopped and everything, and that helped a lot when we were trying to do the class here.
Yeah, it moves at a fast pace. An hour isn't
Yeah.
quite enough, especially if people have questions or, yeah. So we'll ask that on the survey too, and please speak up about anything you have. Patty wished you started with a food processor. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I started you off on that. I'm not sure who has them or who doesn't, and I don't want to assume everyone has them. So
We have one, but it's little. I have to do it in a few
batches.
different classes. Yeah, batches. It's like a 3-cup, I think.
Yeah.
My daughter also likes, this tzatziki. We already had it, so
There you
we didn't
go.
make the other one right now, but I said, we'll try it next time we make them.
Do you drain these on paper towels first or something?
Yep, you can drain them on a paper towel on a plate. That's what I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
That looks so beautiful. I'm not sure if your name is Amy or your mom's name is Amy, but I've been admiring
My
your-
mom's name is
Yeah,
Amy.
you do it.
Okay. What's your name?
My name is Fiona.
Just
Yeah.
leave it like this. They're gonna have to show the whole
That
kitchen.
sandwich looks like the size of your head. Oh, anyone else want to show theirs
Mm.
off?
Can't do it.
How about just my,
Yeah. Show 'em.
I can't figure out how
Where
to
is
show
it?
them to you.
Beautiful.
Where are they?
Get him out of the light. Yeah, into the
That's
light.
fine.
They look fantastic.
Mm.
Wow.
Thank you.
Can't wait to eat them.
Yeah. Okay. But I don't want to keep anyone
Okay.
any longer if they're hungry. So thank you for your birthday wishes. Thank you for joining me. Please, please give us feedback on what you'd like to see from this class and what recipes or what pace, what we can do to improve. I'm excited to hear.
This was so nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's great.
Okay.
It was
Bye,
fun.
everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Birthday.
Thank you. Okay, have a wonderful evening. Shoot us an email if you have questions or anything. Bye-bye.